Explosion time, unplugged. You know what that means? Anything goes. We just talk about everything. I got the amazing Jess Miller-Merell in the house today. We're going to talk about tips, HR Cert exams. What's up, Jess?
Hey, what an intro. So fun.
7 seconds of explosion. That's what life's all about, right?
It kind of is. It kind of is, really.
So this is something new because I'm on the staffing side. So to bring the HR in, I'm going to learn as much as the audience out here today because you've created this workology. Seriously. So let's just take a step back. Who is Jess Miller? Give everybody the 2-minute tour.
I am a former corporate HR leader who started a blog in 2005 and kind of became an accidental entrepreneur. Ended up losing my job because of social media, which, you know, that's a story for maybe later. But I help HR leaders and just business leaders navigate the complex world of human resources. So we provide a lot of training support and resources through the blog, through our courses, through the podcast and different things to help arm HR leaders and their workplaces with knowledge because it's crazy out there and it's changing every single day.
It's a wild world. It's like we're riding a surfboard. I always say that. And okay, so time out. You got some major awards. I mean, you were the Forbes top 50 social media power user. I call powerhouse, you know. Was that this year?
That was a while ago. So when I started the blog, it was normally a job seeker blog. And so I was like a job seeker, influencer, career coach for a while before we pivoted over to the HR side of things fully. Because I created my blog as an HR director to recruit candidates in 2005, 2009 timeframe.
Holy shit. So you were an influencer way before the stuff's going.
Before it was
way
cool.
There. You're like a pioneer influencer then, Jess.
It's a lot of fun. And it's interesting to see how it's changed over the years, right? So always evolving, always changing. Influence is a lot more accepted or understood than it was back in those days.
Okay, so workology. How did you come up with the name and the concept and the company?
Again, accidental. I was doing a lot of career coaching and like social media consulting in the early days. And the blog's original name was Blogging for Jobs. And because I was blogging about how to get a job, which was great. But it didn't really resonate with who I was becoming and what I was all about. So we switched gears. And I launched Workology, which was about 10 years ago. We went through a rebrand process and I transitioned more to training and support for human resources leaders. Right now, we reach 1 million HR leaders, workplace leaders every single month on Workology with our more than 9,000 pieces of content and information and support.
I love that name, Workology. When I think of that, I think of sociology back in like college or something like that. Education, right?
Yes. And it's so funny. It started out as the art and science of work. And what's even more hilarious, I was working with a client, which at the time was Smart Recruiters, and I was writing content for them as me. And I was talking about the art and science of work and how I feel like the study of work and the art of work is changing. And so that's when I talked about Workology. Then I just happened to see that the domain was for sale at an auction. And
get out of here. Really?
Yes, it was like, and I believe that like your life is a series of like happy coincidences and opportunities. You just have to be aware of them and then grab them. And that was one of those things. So I sat on it for a couple of years. I soft branded into the Workology podcast. And then kind of tested the waters before we moved everything over fully. But yeah, I bought it on a domain auction for about 5 figures. So at the time expensive, but I have had 6-figure offers for the domain. And I've said, nope, sorry.
I love the name. It's catchy, seriously. But even before I met you like 5 years ago, I'm like, Workology, who's this woman behind the Workology?
It's fun. It's fun.
It is you. Okay, so now let's just jump into like the CERT exam because a lot of people, I mean, the SHRMs, there's so many different certifications. So there's like 3 major ones that you actually help out with, correct?
So there are 2 certifying bodies that offer HR certification. And there's HRCI, the Human Resources Certification Institute, and then there's SHRM, which is the professional association that most HR people know, the Society for Human Resource Management. So we provide certification prep and recertification for SHRM and HRCI exams.
Okay, so everybody wants a certification now. And I've heard this before. This doesn't guarantee you a job, but what does it do? I mean, I mean, a certification in HR is almost like a must, though, to get promoted. Am I right?
Really is. And having a certification can give you anywhere between $10,000 to $40,000 more per year. So if you think about that in the span of your lifetime, investing, $700 on the exam to take it, not to mention materials, can really, really pay off. And it is a requirement for a lot of jobs in human resources. Personally, it's nice to have access to like a central knowledge base of information, and then be able to showcase with the certification your experience from an organization who is respected, whether it's HRCI and SHRM. I'm neutral in Sweden. We support both, but it is it's just a great way to be able to say like, yes, I have the knowledge. And then you can kind of work back from there. You might not need the information that is covered in the exam right away, but later on. It can come into play. So it's a nice foundation to help set you apart from others in the space, which is really important right now in the marketplace that we're in, because there are more HR people, just like there's more recruiters right now who are looking for work than the jobs available right now in the current economic market.
Well, what's funny is me being on the staffing side, when I go to a company like a manufacturer and I see somebody from HR and they have the SHRM after it or whatever certification, it gives you that they already done the course. They know what's going on. I hate to say,
hopefully they do.
Well, hopefully, yeah. But there's some it doesn't have that. It's totally different. I'm going to tell you, Jess, the ones I deal with, it doesn't have it. The knowledge is so different.
You just don't have that foundation knowledge, right? And it can save your company thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars if you're able to help navigate or make suggestions to the leadership team or managers to keep us out of trouble. And not all of our job is compliance focused, but a lot of the foundational stuff is. So just having that in your back pocket that you can pull from can help you gain credibility, build trust with the leadership team, and then be able to become a more strategic HR leader, if not now, as you grow in your career.
100%. I think if you have a certification, you can train like the project managers, the plant managers, anybody else, because I'm going to tell you, West Virginia, Southwestern PA, man, we get a lot of stuff. HR has to deal with everything. And I hate to say it, but sometimes they're like the principal or the bad teacher, and that's not true. But they're like, you hear HR and you have the workers, my temps are like, oh, here comes HR again. And they're like acting like, what are you guys doing? They're here to help you.
It's interesting on the internet in particular, how people view human resources. I recently had a video on Instagram, like a short reel that went viral, and it's about 900,000 views right now.
Nice.
And it was just about life as a TA leader, as a recruiter. And it was just like that feeling, or how I feel when somebody tells me that they're not going to go to orientation like 2 days before their start date, right? Which we've all been there as recruiting leaders, staffing leaders. We know what that's like. Like, it's the feeling in the pit of your stomach where you just want to scream, and you don't have a backup, because they were your last option. You're just trying to squeeze them through. And job seekers kind of got a hold of it, and their opinions about HR is sometimes really hurtful, because we do get thrown under the bus a lot, or the scapegoat for managers or leaders, or I can't comment on why Johnny was fired from the job, even though he peed on the side of the building, but I can't tell anybody about it. Like, that kind of stuff happens all the time, and we just have to keep our mouth shut and take it. And that's not a very fun part of the HR job.
No way. And HR loves when like a staffing firm comes in and a contractor, like, Shark, you can fire that person. It's your contract person,
Yes,
tell them
not my responsibility.
They love people like me. They're like, yeah, you could take care of this. And then when it goes permanent, like, oh boy, can you still talk to him?
Yes, please. Will you be my consultant, my HR consultant for HR? Yes, please.
And what's funny is people don't know that HR recruits too. I know so many people that are actually on the front lines looking at Indeed and all that. Do you see that on your side?
That's how I started. I mean, when I got into HR, completely accident. Again, I feel like sometimes the best gifts are the ones that you didn't know you needed. Mm-hmm. And they moved me at Target as part of their manager training program after I graduated from college into human resources. I didn't find out until 8 weeks into the job, when I went to job shadowing training, that I was in HR. And I didn't listen to any of that HR stuff or that recruiting stuff, but I was responsible for staffing and retaining and training a $50 million Target store when I was 22 years old. Yeah, a lot of HR leaders are going to be in recruiting as well as like HR duties. Some of us like in my career, I have done it all. And personally, I liked recruiting better because it allowed you to be more creative. So I started recruiting on dating websites in 2001.
Get out of here. Dating websites. Come on, Jess.
Everything is a database. Okay.
Yeah.
Everything is a database. And I knew that I blew my budget of $250 for the quarter on job postings in the newspaper. This is 2001. Okay. So I had to figure out like how to get creative. And at the time, there were only a couple reasons to get on the internet. At the time, it was porn or you're looking for love. Okay. And at the time,
you're right.
Yes. And at the time, looking for love, like Yahoo Personals and these sites were free. Can you imagine? So I was they all list their location. They all list their job title. I'm going to go start searching. And so I made assistant manager hires. I made cashier hires, everything for the Target store that I was working at. I hired for at zero cost. And I was like, there is something to this internet thing. So that's how I got started on the internet. And one of the reasons I started the blog, because I was recruiting in forums and chat rooms and MySpace really frequently and having success. I'm like, I need to go all in and figure this out.
Okay, MySpace, come on. I wish it still was back. Are you right? I mean,
it is
Facebook,
still there.
But MySpace was the best. I mean, the music,
remember that? It was the best. You could customize your page. We all learned how to code a little bit, even it was just copy and pasting. But hey, we knew some basic HTML. But yeah, it was great in those days.
And we all had one thing in common. Everybody loved Tom because Tom was on everybody's.
I recently saw a picture of Tom. He changed his profile picture. The dude has aged a little bit, obviously, because it's been a little bit, but it made me sad. It made me sad.
And it was funny back then. I mean, MySpace was really the first one where we could, organize each other with the community. And remember the top 10? If you didn't have your friends in the top 10 and you rotated them out, they'd call you.
They would.
Like, seriously. And you're like, dude, why am I not in your top 10 now? It's like, we're not going to go to bar tonight. I'm thinking, oh my God, is that crazy back then how we built a community at MySpace and we had fun with it?
I think you can still do that with social media now. You just have to be more creative or more custom and niche with what you're doing, which is why I love what you're doing, right? And I feel like there's a huge opportunity for staffing leaders in particular to be able to cultivate relationships and build rapport with job seekers or their target candidates using social media in a way that HR or even corporate recruiting can't or isn't able to. So build those relationships, build that rapport, get out there and do these things because the bar for like amazingness is really low, right? You just have to create a Facebook group or a Slack community and start to engage them. And everybody thinks you're the most amazing and make a couple placements on it and it pays for itself.
Exactly. And you know what the thing is? I tell people in the staff, you have to entertain. Why does candidates come to me? It's because I'm entertaining and I'm freaking nuts. I mean, that's me. It's like people laugh about it, but that's it. When you scroll, Jess, why are you going to stop on somebody's? Because you're curious and see what the hell they're doing, right?
And that's why I do the yoga online, because honestly, it's a differentiator too. Like, and people don't say to me, Jessica, like randomly at a conference, Jessica, I really love your HR certification courses. Sometimes they do, but normally they don't. Normally it's like, I follow you and you are funny on TikTok or you keep doing yoga. How's that going for you? They talk about my personal life. And I think that's the differentiator for us as entrepreneurs or these independent recruiting agencies and groups is we can have our personality really set us apart so that we can be seen and build our brand differently than the corporate folks.
And that's the big thing. Before we jump into the top tips, the brand is the number one thing. The brand is you. Yep. I hate when people say ChatGPT and stuff. I don't use that. Be honest with you, that's very limited because you'll see my stuff. It's all slang, sharkism. That's how I talk. And it's like, dude, you ain't going to change that shit. If I start pulling these 40-letter words out there, like, dude, that shark got that shit from the internet. You know what I mean? Yep. But that's who you are, your character to build a brand, but care about people and stuff like that. And you should bring your personal life and your professional life. They combine these days. I mean, that's what it's all about, you know?
You don't have to share everything. Like I like to pick 5 topics that I kind of utilize and kind of set myself some ground rules. Otherwise, I have ADHD and I will go squirrel another complete direction. So it's like, okay, here is the rules, Jess. Operate in the most creative space, but try to focus in these areas because they're time tested, they drive engagement, they are meaningful to people. And that's how you build a brand online.
100%. My friends thinking about that. I'm hyperactive all the time. They're like, dude, you need a couple gummies to just chill.
No,
No, it would be me.
A couple gummies aren't that bad on occasion. However, I will say that like you have to be true to you. And when you are true to who you are, that's when you either like repel, and hopefully you repel the right people that you don't need, or you draw in the people that are meant for you. So the more authenticity, the more transparency, the more that you're self online and in the work world or real life, I think the more the right people are really excited to connect with you on a personal level.
100%. All right. So top tips for passing HR Cert exams. Okay. So what kind of top tips? I know I looked at some of your stuff online here. I mean, it does take time to study for this test. I mean, this test is not easy, correct?
Yep. It's depending upon which exam you take, you might have a below 50 pass rate. So it is an investment of your time. Most of our students are spending between 70 and 120 hours studying for the exam before they actually take it. It's important to have a strategy in place. You can't just be all willy-nilly. It's like anything. Like the key is systems and processes to help make your time use the best and most efficient way.
I love it. Okay, so 95% pass rate. Tell me about this, Jess. I mean, this is badass. This is like the Ivy League. You're like 95%. If you take this stuff Jess gives you, you're going to pass.
People do, and they have to invest with us for at least 90 days. It's on demand, so you are focused on your schedule and in a way that works for you. I serve up content using test questions. We have videos, we have audio. I use all different forms, infographics, downloadables. I try to engage someone from all senses because when you utilize studying from different methods or means, it helps move that information from your short-term into your long-term memory so that you're able to recall it on test day. But you can't just sit there and read your book and think that you're going to pass the exam. Our brains are hardwired for different things, to be challenged, just like exercise. You can't just do wall sits for 3 years and think that you're going to be a strong person. You have to give yourself variety. No, it does not. Just like food, you don't just want to eat Cheetos every day. It's not good for you. Why are you studying for your exam that way? It's the same thing.
So when you get people to study for the exams, I mean, I'm sure they call you or text you and they're stressed out because it's a big task. I mean, this is something you probably have to put out a lot of fires and say, calm them down like a social worker and say, it's okay. You can get through this. Do you see that a lot?
I do. And especially this time of year, because exam season has started, it'll continue for sure in many ways through July 15th, if not the 31st. So people start to get a little bit more stressed during this time. And so normally, sometimes, not always, but I'll get a LinkedIn message. I'll get a text message. Somebody will send an email to my team all within the matter of 5 minutes. And I have to remember that they're in a place of overwhelm at this moment. So I do have resources in our course that are designed to help you, hopefully with a plan. I walk them through some guided meditations, positive affirmations, different things. But the key is, with anything, a system and a process that happens over time. You cannot expect to start studying now if your exam is on June 1st. That is not a healthy scenario, but so many people are in that space, and it is up to them. They have to hold themselves accountable to create an environment that and prioritize this exam, because it is not cheap.
And there's no cliff notes for this, right?
No, although the scammers and all the Facebook groups are like, exact exam questions. What's that mean?
So let's jump in that because we're unplugged, of course. These scammers, please give some insight about that out there, because we don't want anybody, that's out there trying to say, well, this program's only this much money, and they get scammed with it.
I mean, I wouldn't pay for anything that doesn't have a legit landing page and like testimonials of things. There's a lot of them that are in Facebook groups or in different places that are like, hey, Reddit, various things. It's like exact exam questions, or here's these study guides. It's only $14.99. If it's too good to be true, it is. They will take your money and then you're out that money. So look for legit websites and resources. It's one of the reasons that I'm all over the internet. It's my face there. I'm talking. We have a podcast just dedicated to HR certification. I have freebies that you can access to test things out. And then you can decide if you want to make the investment. For me, we have a monthly subscription so that it's budget friendly. And if you decide that it's like a couple weeks in that this isn't for you, I didn't get you on the hook for $1,000. It's $89, and then you can cancel it and move on to another thing. So if I'm not your vibe, I am not here to suck you dry. I'm here to help direct you. And hopefully you can be like, oh, it's not for me. That's cool. No hard feelings. Move on and try a different resource.
Everybody's here for your vibe. Come on, Jess.
I hope so. I mean, I really like, I think authenticity is key. Like what you see is what you get. I'm the same person that I am online that I am in person, although I might be a little bit more introverted than people think. So I like small groups. I like the internet. I can research you beforehand. So I know exactly who I want to talk to and why.
I would never predict that, Oh. The way you put your videos out there, I'd be like, she's out there, in the spotlight all the time.
I have gotten sick often before I go on stage. So I do have a lot of anxiety and different things. It's one of the reasons why I was driven to like meditation and yoga, I think, because I can help like put myself in a calm state so that I don't overthink things. But I really don't like large groups. I can speak in front of large groups, but I really have to hype myself up into a place where I'm in my own mind presenting to just 20 people like I was at a coffee shop back in the day.
I love it. Well, if we ever go to a conference together, I'll be your hype man before you get on the
Please.
stage.
I always
come up there with you. All right.
I always need the one extrovert to kind of follow me around or pull me with them. I often look for those people at networking events. I will walk up to them and say, you seem to know everybody. I'm new here. Who do I need to know? And y'all extroverts, you're like, let me take you, girl. I got you.
Come on in. That's too funny. Okay, so these cert exams, like, is there a certain course for each one, or is it just a basic for the whole thing, like the SHRM and the other ones? Is there certain different guidelines?
There are different requirements for the SHRM exam versus the HRCI exam. So we have two different offerings. The first thing that I would encourage you to do is try to think through like what your requirements are. I actually have a free quiz that you can take. It's called the HR certification quiz, where you put in your requirements and then it'll populate for you for free at no cost, a SHRM exam and an HRCI exam that you qualify for. So just go to hrcertificationquiz.com, take the quiz. It's going to tell you everything you need, cost, recommended resources, what the pass rate is, all the things. But yes, there's different requirements. And right now, HRCI, which is the older set of exams, SHRM is new. SHRM and HRCI used to work together and now they're separate. But the HRCI exams just went through a major update as of March of 2024. So not all information that's out there available for prep is with the new materials. Ours is, and I walk you through the resources that are outside of ours as well, so that you aren't making a bad investment.
Sweet. And somebody can reach out to you, say they're hesitant. They want to take this because it's a big investment. You know that, Jess. Time, they might have kids at home. Can they reach out to you and you can guide them through and tell them which one they should take and all that good stuff?
The quiz is the best place to go for all that, because I'm going to ask all the regular questions. Gotcha. And sometimes people don't want to be sold to, or they don't want to feel like they're being sold to. That's why I love automation so much. So the hrcertificationquiz.com is the place to go. You can also go to the Workology website. I have content for days on everything. But if you have a question, I have a chat box on the website. You can email me directly, send me a LinkedIn message. I get those a lot. And I can help you get to the right place. But really the quiz is kind of the first place to get you set up to decide which exam is right for you.
Sweet. Okay, so the big event, May 16th. Let's talk about that. The social HR.
Yeah, that's my friend Jeff Waldman's event in Austin. It's going to be really fun. Actually, Social HR Camp actually spoke at the first one like 10 years ago in San Francisco with Jeff, and then he's bringing them on the road. So that'll be a really fun one. I'm actually talking about AI and ChatGPT.
Oh, look at that. I have to bring you on for a show for that, because we talk about AI and ChatGPT. I mean, you got to have it there somewhere, seriously, in your system at all. I mean, tell anybody out there, if you're trying to push AI and ChatGPT away, don't do it, because you'll be pushed away yourself.
It's here to stay. You are going to make yourself so outdated if you aren't familiar. So just test it, try it out. Bard, Copilot, ChatGPT. you don't have to be an expert, but just become familiar with how it can be used, because you want to be seen as a resource for AI. I think so. If I was in the staffing space, I would be like, hey, I want to become the expert in AI. So all my clients come to me and they suggest other people to come to me, and I can share some tips on AI, but hey, I can also fill your positions. Here's my rates.
Exactly.
Here's how it works. Like, let's get started.
It's a supplement, friends. It's not going to take your job unless you suck. Bottom line.
That is true. I have a 15-year-old, and we're using all these AI tools because the key right now is it's still new. But if you can figure out how to customize through prompts and utilize that, it's going to give you a competitive advantage for the short term. I would say the next 3 to 4 years. So as an entrepreneur, I'm thinking like, how I'm going to leverage this to be able to support my clients more, but be able to increase my income, which is, I think, what we all want. Like better, more money, less work. If AI can help me do that and it's done ethically, I'm down.
Exactly. And your child, let's reach out. Swimmer, come on now. I see the awards.
She is. Yeah. She's a competitive swimmer. She trains 6 days a week. It's crazy. And actually, she's applying for a job as a lifeguard, her first job in our neighborhood, which is pretty exciting. So that they pay $14 an hour as a 15-year-old.
My God, that's more than they pay in West Virginia for like manufacturing, $12.50 here. Damn.
It's crazy. I paid for her to go to lifeguard certification for first aid, $250, and she is making $2 or $3 more an hour than she normally would with this one skill. So certifications, training, like AI skill, whatever it is, like differentiations are incredibly important because it can change your life. And hopefully like it sets my kid off in a good place for the rest of her, high school career into college and whatnot.
Well, whatever you do, man, you're training her the right way. She's sucking it all in from, the workology, seriously, because her swimming, you see it on social media, and that's what it is. Jess shares some of her, experiences with her children and her kids and all that good stuff. And, you see the medals and everything. And I'm like, wow, this girl can swim.
She has had a lot of fun, and I think it's really good to have something that you're passionate about, that you are really focused on, that's going to serve you well in life. I mean, I think about like what I do in my job every single day, and as an entrepreneur, like we're always working towards something new and different. So it requires focus and dedication, stubbornness, certainly, and then I don't know, just a good mental mind. You can't let like things that are happening in the world get you down, because really you're in control of your own destiny.
Dude, you're in control of everything. I think the biggest thing that we can always say is hold yourself accountable. Don't point your finger at anybody else. You control everything.
Well, when you work for yourself, or when you're a salesperson, I feel like you can't point the finger. You can't BCC your boss and be like, Jimmy didn't send that report, blah, blah, blah. No. The reason that it's not happening is because of something that you did or planned for or strategized or led your team down a certain path. You didn't pick up the phone and make the calls. You didn't send the emails that need to be sent. You didn't follow up with the people to do the things. And that's not for everyone, because that's an incredible amount of pressure that maybe not everybody is prepared for. It
isn't, but I tell you, the high of owning your own company is pretty high. It's like awesome what you can create, if everything goes well.
It is. And you're like, I'm not working in December. I'm good.
No, I'm going to the beach. Starks over in Costa Rica.
You pick your own rules. I didn't send out a single email in December because I didn't need to. But like the control freak in me was super scared. Like, what's going to happen? Is shit going to fall apart? Am I still going to make my sales goals? Guess what? I still made my sales goals. I didn't send out a single email.
Look at you.
Like newsletter email. Now people did get automated, but I still made my course sales goal.
Did you do any social media during that time?
It was very limited. And I just was over it. I was just like, let's test it here and see if it can happen. But December is not typically a big end of year. A lot of people are on vacation, or they're checking out, or they've got family things. So the year before, I decided to not have any client meetings at all in December. And then this year I was like, I'm not going to do any client meetings, and I'm not sending a damn email.
There it is.
It was great.
So Jess is saying, take the month of December off if you can.
If you can, and just see what happens. Like if you take Wednesday afternoons off and you took Friday off, is it going to change things? And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is like we can control our own things. Now, last night, I was up until like 11 working on some stuff that I needed to have because I knew I was going to be here. But next week, I'm flying home. I'm taking 6 days off. I won't be doing, I have no meetings, nothing booked. Things will still run. That is, I think, a good entrepreneur who has systems and processes and things in place so that their business can still run when they're not even in it.
100%. And when the summer starts, Jess, Wednesday to Sunday, I'm at the lake
I
at
love
3 o'clock on, drinking land shark beer, chilling on the boat. So that's me. So after 3 o'clock, you'll catch me, but only on cell phone.
Perfect. That's living the life.
It is. Hey, life is too short. I always tell people, if I can tell anybody about that, life is short. Embrace everything. Enjoy everything. We're enjoying our chat right now.
We are.
I mean, I think people always say, think about tomorrow. Yeah, you want to, but think about today. Focus on right now.
But I think like those kind of things really set certain people apart, right? And I no longer have an Apple Watch. My phone is shut off right now. My focus is solely on you. And when you start to live that way or work that way and work with clients that way, it really sets like a tone and intention. Like my time is valuable. I have boundaries in place, but when we are together, you are my number one priority.
100%. And I haven't worn a watch in 7 years. Is that crazy? I have a bunch of them here. I love watches back in the day, had them all. They're sitting here in a box. I should sell them all, but I don't wear one. Even though you have your phone, I don't need that on my wrist anymore.
No, I shut mine off because I was like, I don't need the distraction. I already know the number of calories that I'm eating and what my gym time is going to equate to. Those are the only reasons that I was doing those things anyway. So if you can remove those distractions, you can truly be present. And again, as somebody who has ADHD, I don't need those distractions. I have enough going on in my brain at this moment. So I can have a little clarity. The focus is on whatever it is in the moment, and I can get my shit done and move on.
Hell yeah. Okay, it's time for the why. Yoga. Jess, everybody knows you online. Yoga. I got to tell you, I've never experienced it yet. And I'm going to start now because you kind of like influenced me about this. So tell people the perks of yoga, how you got into it and all this good stuff.
Real truth. I have been practicing yoga for over 20 years, and actually it got me through a really hard time in my life. I was domestically abused, and going through yoga and kind of understanding and myself better and like navigating through emotions helped me have the courage to be able to leave my starter spouse and be able to move on. And so during COVID, I really started to think more, as I think we all did, like what I want out of when maybe things go back to normal if they don't. And I started practicing daily just to see if that I could do it, because it has been the cornerstone to transformation for me. When I've done yoga daily, it has helped me get through some really hard periods of my life. And I was experiencing personally a lot of negative self-talk and anxiety, especially during COVID. I was constantly overwhelmed and worried about my business because things were out of my control. And so getting back to stretching and breathing and meditation helped me focus on the present and stay centered so that I could help make better decisions for me and my family. So it's training you not only to be physically fit. I've lost 70 pounds since I started doing daily yoga. A little over 3 years ago, but it has just helped me just become a better person in terms of like what's important in my life, not listening to the noise, worrying about what other people think. I'm able to set those things aside and say, what is best for me, what is best for my family, and make choices from there. And that's invaluable.
100%. And yoga, tell me not. It's like stress-free. I mean, when you go in there, some of the things I see about it, I mean, does yoga really change a person? Seriously.
It does. It does. Because think about it. Like when you're overwhelmed, your body, or you have anxiety, your body has a response. It is responding to a group of stimuli, and it is reacting a certain way. It is creating more cortisol. Your body, you're breathing faster. Your skin is responding. All these different things. When you're able to focus on something, not your watch or your problems or the million things on your to-do list for even 50 minutes or 30 minutes, it changes you. And so It changes you physically, it changes you mentally, it makes you stronger. I, about 8 months ago, went through a 40-day meditation challenge where I committed to an 11-minute meditation every day. And it was probably the hardest thing. I restarted because if you don't do it every day, you have to restart the 40 days. So I restarted on day 23 back to day 1. But once I got through it, I was able to train my mind that I can do anything that I set my mind to. It is up to me to be able to make those choices. It's hard to explain, but it really just changed me even more so than the daily yoga. Yes, it's about exercise. Yes, it's about breath, but it's about like being able to understand yourself better so that you can support yourself better with daily life choices and the things that you're interacting and the people you're interacting with every day.
You are so true. I mean, I've been working out for 30 years and seriously, and a personal trainer. And seriously, that's what brings that energy out for both of us. It's like, you can love everybody. If you work out, you feel good about yourself.
You do.
And the food, I always say this in our industry, even especially in staffing, muffins and coffee. By 10 o'clock, you're done. You're flat out. You're not eating berries and oatmeal in the morning to get you going. And I really believe that we have to eat healthy so we can be productive in our work.
I tell you, 11-minute meditation, first thing I do every morning before I even get out of bed, like it's better than coffee. Like it changes your whole perspective. Personally, I practice, I try to get into the yoga studio at least 5 times a week, hot yoga, which is a whole different ballgame. It is very fast moving yoga that's very physical. And you do it in a room that's normally like 95 to 100 degrees. But I teach Kundalini yoga, which is more mantra and meditation. It's accessible to anyone. So the important thing is just to experiment and try, but to move your body. Make time for that because we only have one body. And at the end of all this, that's what we have control. I have several family members. My mother-in-law had a stroke earlier this year at our home while she was visiting us over the holidays. So in January, and I was able to see firsthand what happens very rapidly, how your life can completely change. So she's my motivation to keep going every single day because I see her in 3 hours of therapy every single day in rehab to try to get her to the point where she's able to do basic things. So it changed my perspective on life and how I look at exercise. Like it is training and growing me stronger for the future, not just the right now, but when I'm really going to need those muscle groups, that determination and really that strong will to be able to get me through maybe some hard stuff physically.
Longevity, I say. When we're like in our 70s, we want to walk down the beach and maybe even strut down the beach. Not
Heck yeah.
A walker.
No. I when I went to Jamaica during COVID, I found this entrepreneur who took us on a sailing and like scuba. And it was amazing. She was 76 years old. She was captaining the ship and she went out with us in the water. And I was like, I want to be this woman when I grow up. So awesome. I think about her often. And that's with regular exercise and, just a zest for life.
Exactly. Smile. When you smile and you're stress-free, who gives a shit? There's always tomorrow. You can do something fun. All right, Jess. And you know what? If you want to see her, she's on all the platforms with her yoga. Seriously, Facebook and Instagram for sure. Just type it in and you'll see your yoga stuff.
It's a lot of fun. Changed my life. And we're going to be doing a retreat soon this fall on my first one. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
Drum roll. I can't wait to hear about that. You have to come on the show and tell us about it.
Of course.
I love it. And where can everybody find you at? Because you're everywhere.
I am everywhere, but you can go to workology.com. That's the best place. But I'm on my favorite platform right now is TikTok. So if you're over there, give me a follow at Workology blog. It's my favorite place to play. It's a lot of fun. And y'all need to get over there because there's not a lot of competition. So
time out. You didn't say LinkedIn? Oh, okay. Hey, can I tell you about LinkedIn? If you're just on LinkedIn, you're losing out. Am I right? Seriously.
Everybody's on LinkedIn. I don't want to be where everybody is. The sea of sameness is not where I want to be. So yes, I'm on LinkedIn only because I have to be, but the creativity and the fun and the real place to get to know me is not on those platforms. So I will continue to be on LinkedIn, but right now TikTok is And I would say TikTok and Facebook are probably the two places that I enjoy. And we connected on. Oh, I just sent you a LinkedIn request.
I know. I just became your
thing.
friend before the show. I'm like, really?
I know. I noticed it when you tagged me. I was like, what the fuck? But
I'm like, Jess.
Yeah, we're Facebook friends.
I'll be honest with you. I think you blocked me a couple weeks ago or a couple years ago.
Maybe, I don't know.
Who's this crazy shark guy block? I'm just messing with
badge of honor if that happened. So, but here we are. I think as a recruiter, go to the places, or the TA leaders or the entrepreneur, go to the places that your competition isn't. And for me, that is TikTok. It's an amazing place, great community, a lot of fun. And it's kind of my internet playground for the moment.
I love it. Okay, final thing. What's your favorite song of all time? I got to ask you that.
My favorite song of all time? Oh my God. I'm such an 80s fan. I really love Journey. They're like one of my favorite bands, or Kansas. So it's rock for me. I will say that the next concert I'm going to is actually NF, and that'll be in, I think, about 3 weeks. He's a rapper similar to Eminem. It's something that my daughter really enjoys. So I don't really have a favorite. Like, all Journey songs are my favorite, I would say.
Okay, you ready for mine? I got to tell you.
Okay.
All time, Hotel California.
Oh.
That is the bad. I mean, seriously, every time I hear that,
song.
Oh my God. I mean, I can play that over and over again. It's like so refreshing and just badass, and it's so true too. When you hear the song, it's seriously, you can be sucked into that shit.
I have never heard the Eagles in concert, but that's one of the things I love about living in Austin is they'll probably be here soon. And then we have went to some amazing shows with all these old dudes from the 70s and 80s. And it's been really amazing. I love live music.
And you know what's funny is everybody we had in the 80s are now like a county fairs now.
I know. At the casino. I went and saw Boys to Men, which was like my favorite ever when I was, in junior high school. So, and now they're at the casino for like $50. So I'm winning. My 12-year-old self is winning.
You are winning. So when I see all these pictures of you with all these singers and stuff like that, you're like, look at that. We got somebody behind you. I think it's time for you.
That's my swimmer. It is.
Hey, what's going on? The rock star. Hey, that's why we're live. You never know what's going to happen.
You never know. It's going to get crazy. Well,
hey, Jess. Thank you so much. Hey, anytime. If you guys need anything, you know who to call. Workology. Jess will get you through it. Take care, guys.
Great to connect. Bye, everybody.